Here's a jig called the Shores of Lough Gowna, and I'll play through it first, and you can use the links below in the description to skip to the various parts of the video if you like. So here we go with the Shores of Lough Gowna for C-sharp D accordion. So there we are, a quick run through the tune, perhaps a little bit on the fast side. It's often played in a slow and moody fashion. So let's break down the tune part by part. Start with the first part. Now in this first part, you get this B figure, which I'm starting like this. Again. Third time. So I'm going to play it here in this fashion, but when you play the tune you'll probably be varying it quite a bit, and I'll show you the different ways that you can vary it, or some of the different ways you can vary it. But for now, let's just stick to... So that is B, D, B, B with the cut between the two Bs. Followed very quickly by A and then two F sharps, which are also cut. First phrase then. Now, I might as well say straight away that this use of a cut to separate two notes without, instead of playing using a cut, makes it much more fluid. But you can actually, if you like, miss out the cut and just slow the two notes together. Again on the F sharp. So I'm actually articulating the note not by lifting my finger and not by playing a cut, but just by D-D-D-ya, D-D-ya. So it's good to practice that, and I would say practice that, and then if you decide to put a cut in, you can still use that swelling of the bellows to give some extra emphasis to the note. So you can use a variety of approaches. You can play the cut, or just articulate it like that with the bellows. Let's carry on. So we've done the first phrase. Again, the B phrase. Putting those two together we get back to the beginning. Little tag phrase. I like to be with my index on the D here. Outer row F sharp. Get a nice smooth sound. So that's the whole of the first part. Again. So I'll play the first part a couple of times slowly. mentioned at the beginning, before we go on to the second part, I mentioned at the beginning that you probably won't do it 3 times. Different things you can do: simply hold a long note, maybe do the cut or not. You could do that. Sometimes you could do sometimes play a sort of a fake roll here. Different ways. That's a different tune. That's the thing I like to do sometimes, just play the note 3 times and then a cut. So you'll do different things like that. Sometimes maybe a chord of B minor, maybe a G chord. But you will vary that, because if you just play the same thing every time, be it, things will get monotonous very quickly for the listener. So there we are, that's the first part. Now, the second part. Again. Now the next little phrase is rather unusual. This is about the only jig that I know in which this phrase comes, but you play a kind of inverted arpeggio. So it's very important to get your ring finger and the way that fits together with the first phrase in the second part that I just showed you is like this. No, it's not. It's like this. Once again. Once again. And the ending tag is the same as the one we had in the first part. So once you've got this, there's nothing new to learn. And there we are, we have the whole tune all ready to practice and learn and play. Now, about this tune, the key signature is quite interesting because what key is it in? People will probably tell you it's in B minor, and that's fair enough. A B minor chord suits it well at the start. But it's unusual in some ways. It's almost a pentatonic tune, and because unless you play that odd triplet, there's no C's in the tune whatsoever. And the funny thing is that we avoid the note G studiously for most of the tune, except for where it suddenly crops up. So this first phrase here. suddenly pops out of nowhere. We've been avoiding the note, we've been skipping over it all the way, and bingo. It's a very interesting point in the tune, because if the person developing the tune, writing the tune, or passing on the tune had wanted to stick with a pentatonic tune, they could have easily missed out that G, and that would sound fine too. But the G hits between the eyes like a surprise. Likewise, in the second part, we've avoided the note G until we get. It's really like a blue note almost. It's a surprise, and it's one of the things that makes the tune unique. So there we are, a great little tune to practice. If you want to explore bases for it, there's not much to be done really. From B minor to D. You can emphasize the surprise of the G with the G chord. So you'll be mainly using B minor and D with the occasional G to emphasize the surprise note, and you can try other things in places if you like. So there we are. I think I've run out of things to say for now about the Shores of Lough Gowna, so have fun with it. And although I played it quite quickly at the beginning there, this is a tune that you can make as moody as you like, and other instruments will often play it slowly. It does make a nice slow jig if you're looking for one. And you can really milk that surprise G for all it's worth. So have fun with that tune, and see you next time.